Hello, everyone. I am so excited today for this episode of Plug Into Devin. We've got with us Steve Simpson, who is the owner of Twin Peaks Trading Post and Cafe down in Bluff, Utah. This is clear down in the southeasternmost corner of the state near the Navajo Nation. This is going to be a fascinating discussion, so stick around. You don't want to miss this. Steve, welcome to the show.
Hi, Devin. Thank you. It's actually Twin Rocks Trading Post, although many people say Twin Peaks. It's Twin Rocks Trading Post and Cafe.
I apologize for that mistake. I am wearing the wrong glasses. I can't read my notes. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. I have been there. I've seen the Twin Rocks. I know why it's called Twin Rocks, but my glasses failed me this morning and my memory too. Steve, you've got a magnificent store and cafe down there. Before we get started in earnest, tell us just a little bit about what you're operating down there.
Sure. We operate Twin Rocks Trading Post, which was opened in 1989. So we've been at it about 31 years. And Twin Rocks Trading Post specializes in higher quality art of the Southwest. Navajo rugs, baskets, jewelry, folk art. We also have a cafe, Twin Rocks Cafe, which specializes in local sort of family style Navajo cuisine or Southwest cuisine.
It's amazing. The store has been closed. The Trading Post has been closed, but the cafe was open when I was there a few weeks ago and I had a chance to meet you and eat some of that delicious food. It was amazing. So thank you.
Thank you.
Steve, what do you want to talk about today?
Well, as you and I discussed when you were here initially, there are some great challenges associated with doing business in rural Utah. And now, of course, those are compounded by the coronavirus. And recently, the protests associated with Black Lives Matter, the economic challenges related to the coronavirus and the shutdown. So, generally, we can talk about how difficult it is to do business down here in rural Utah.
Tell us a little bit about the challenges. People wouldn't guess that protests in Salt Lake would have an impact on Bluff.
Or the protests in New York or Los Angeles or around the world, but certainly they do. Bluff is a very interesting small town. Tends to be a little more liberal than Utah in general, but it is very socially engaged. The challenges typically in rural Utah are difficult. Finding enough qualified people to work, generating enough traffic to sustain a business, and many other issues make it extremely difficult. Despite that, we've continued for over 30 years at the Trading Post and over 25 years at the restaurant. And I think with a lot of hard work and diligence, we've managed to get through. Certainly the COVID-19 complications make it even more difficult. The restaurant was closed for a month and a half. Fortunately, we were able to get some paycheck protection money and also some EIDL money from the Small Business Administration. So it seems as though we'll get through. It's just a matter of how much financial scarring we have when the pandemic passes, if and when it passes.
Yeah, these are certainly scary times. As from your vantage point, what do you think the various government entities, especially the federal government, ought to be doing to better support rural businesses? They're in a unique situation or a different situation than small businesses in urban areas, I think.
Well, I think so far the federal government has done a serviceable job with the Paycheck Protection Program And with the EIDL funding, we managed to secure both of those relatively early on with the help of our local banker. And that's been helpful. My fear is that the PPP is a short-term solution that will result in continued high unemployment once that money runs out. I'm afraid that the pandemic is so large and the economic consequences so extreme that we're going to need something huge. And my best guess is that some sort of infrastructure program, similar to what we saw during the Great Depression, is going to be necessary and appropriate. And I think the money that's being put into the PPP and some of these other programs, unfortunately, are not going to last very long. And once that money runs out, I think we're back into the same cycle because I'm sure, or I'm confident the pandemic is going to last very long, and the economic consequences are going to be extreme. So I think it's going to take a great deal of focus and financial support from the federal government, and I'm hoping that maybe it will get around to doing infrastructure programs that put people back to work.
Well, that is really a good plan. It worked in the Great Depression, and we're seeing how the stimulus package has helped to end the decline. But there's no question the economy is working at a much lower level than it was 90 days ago, and getting it back to a healthy level is going to take more work. So, Steve, that's great feedback. I really want to thank you for taking the time to be here for this quick discussion. Before you go, you have been a real leader in the community. You had a successful business there for 30 plus years. Tell us, Steve, what is your superpower?
I wish I had one. I think if I have anything akin to a superpower, it's just that we sort of follow the NASA model that failure is not an option. So no matter what happens, we have to keep going. And one of the early pioneers to Bluff, Bishop Jens Nilsson, used to say, we have to go on even when we can't, or something akin to that. So that's basically where we are.
Oh, fantastic.
We can't stop.
Yeah, that's great, Steve. Well, thank you very much for being with us today. Tell people how they can find more information about Twin Rocks Trading Post and Cafe, and how they can connect with you.
You can log on to twinrocks.com, www.twinrocks.com, or you can call us at 1-800-526-3448 and just ask for Steve.
Fantastic. Well, Steve, thank you very, very much. I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today, and we wish you every success in your efforts to recover your business from the impacts of all the craziness in 2020.
Thank you, Devin, and good luck to you as well.
All righty. Let's be bold together.
There you go.
I'm Devin Thorpe. For the last 8 years, I've been working full-time to eradicate extreme poverty, improve global health, and fight climate change. I've concluded that the best way for me to continue my work is to run for Congress to represent the people of Utah's 3rd District. In Utah, we have common shared values. Those things unite us. I believe passionately in our ability to come together, and I believe that working together, we can solve Utah's problems. I'm Devin Thorpe. I'm a Democrat. I'm running to represent the people of Utah's 3rd District.
I'm Devin Thorpe, a candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.